Thank you. I don't like being on stage. So, hi, my name is Lora Branch, and I want to welcome you to tonight's historic celebration. We're celebrating marriage equality in Illinois. Yes, let's clap it up. Let's clap it up. I also give a shout out to DJ Lora Branch, too. She's kicking off the celebration with a wedding song, so to all the couples that are here and those who want to ring on in, you can put that in your playlist. But I just want to welcome you to this celebration because, one, I had the pleasure of joining fellow Black LGBT leaders in Chicago, representing different organizations that I see represented out here in the audience and demographics. And I don't know what to say. All I want to do is just go ahead and kick it off. TFC, I don't know how I like being on stage. Michael O'Connor. First of all, I just wanted to say something special about Michael real quick. And I'm glad to kick it off to him because throughout my time being here in Chicago in the LGBT community, he's been one of the people that I looked up to and always hear a wealth of information from. So, Michael, I wanted to give you that proper introduction. Thank you.
Thank you, lady. Oh, now, I can just figure out how to get up here. Oh, this is what happens when you become an elder. Now, as Waddie said, my name is Michael O'Connor. On behalf of the Illinois Marriage Equality African American Coalition, the groups, I'd like to say welcome. Welcome to a celebration that was started not just in Chicago, but was done throughout the entire state, from Adams County to downstate, to Decatur, to Jefferson, to Sangamon County, to dealing with all the 103 counties that we have here in the state of Illinois. This coalition and a bunch of individuals that are allies all got together when they said it couldn't be done. We'd like to welcome you because you're the individuals who helped us to make this happen. When you talk to your members in your families, when you talk to them people at your churches, when you talk to the people at the dry cleaners, when you talk to that old lady that sits in the front of your church, that would throw holy water on you every chance she got, but she would steal her son or her daughter. We talk to them people. We made sure that those legislators understood that's what happens with 60 votes. So tonight, we are here as a group. That group is what is considered grassroots, and I do mean grassroots. For those who don't know what that means we have a whole lot of money. Okay? We have very little money. We beg, borrow, some would say steal. We also had institutions. It was a potpourri of different groups and different people who all wanted to deal with the same thing. We're saying thank you tonight for the Urban League, for Affinity, for Chicago Black Women's Hawkins, for so many of these different groups here that I'm not even going to start to begin that process. I'm just going to say thank you and welcome and have a good time tonight because this is just starting. Contrary to popular belief, we can get along for some time. The Illinois United Marriage Coalition, we got all kind of people here. This is a good thing. This is a thing that's we've been trying to do ever since March, to my knowledge. When that first African American group came down there, ragtag, but got down there, okay? And basically said, Mary Flowers, how come you don't know we exist? What you mean? Monique Davis? See? Well, I ain't gonna go there, so. Welcome. I need to introduce, before all is said and done, because we gotta keep this rolling, two individuals who have been greatly, who are part of this process, who are a great part of this process. I'd like to introduce Kim Hunt, Executive Director of Affinity, to come to the stage. And Marquell Smith. Where's Marquell? Oh, I'm sorry, Kim and Craig. Y'all come up here. Chicago Black LGBTQ Caucus. Craig Johnson, come on up here.
Now I might need some help up.
All right.
You want to come on up, Craig? We got two. That's on. Is it on? Okay. How's everybody doing?
Great.
Awesome. So thank you, Michael, for that brilliant introduction, as only Michael can do. And thank you all for coming out on this chilly night. As Michael said, I'm Kim Hunt, Executive Director of Affinity Community Services. And Affinity is a social justice organization that works with and on behalf of Black LGBT communities, queer youth, and allies. And for the last almost 20 years, we have been intentionally housed on the south side of Chicago. Can I hear something for the south side? Hey, thank you. So, I'm going to spend a little time talking about Black communities' historical participation in the marriage equality movement. And this planning committee that put the program together tonight wanted to add this part to our program so that those of you who may be new to this movement for marriage equality and other things can get a sense of the history and how this has played out over time. As I say that, I also want to honor that marriage equality is not necessarily the top priority for many people in our community. We get that. It wasn't even the top priority for, thought the microphone went off. It wasn't even the top priority for Affinity, but we were in it because of the economic implications for families and the need to recognize our families. So, Illinois became the 16th state, along with the District of Columbia, to allow same-gender loving people to get married. When Governor Pat Quinn signed Senate Bill 10, also called the Religious Freedom and Marriage Fairness Act, or SB 10, into law last week. We would have been the 15th state, but Hawaii snuck past us when their legislature passed the law this month. Their governor signed it, and their law actually goes into effect December 2nd. Here, marriage becomes legal for same-sex couples on January 1st of next year. June 1st, I'm sorry. That would be nice. We were trying, I may have spoke that into reality. We'll see what happens. So the fight for marriage actually goes back to the 70s, but it's interesting that Hawaii is now one of the states that allow same-sex marriage because there was actually a case in Hawaii in the mid-90s that led to Clinton and the Congress passing, don't ask, the Defense of Marriage Act that the Supreme Court weakened this summer. Woo! Yeah. But I'll jump back to recent history in Illinois. So beginning in 2011, same-sex couples could have civil unions. In this state, civil unions allow couples to have all the rights that married heterosexual couples have at the state level. Civil unions have no impact on federal law. That means no Social Security, no ability to sponsor your partner, if your partner is a foreign-born person, and a host of other family protections. And at the end of 2012, organizations and individuals were asked to join a coalition to get marriage equality legislation passed in this state. In the beginning of 2013, SB 10 was introduced by the chief sponsor, Senator Heather Stearns. Let's hear it for Heather. And on Valentine's Day of this year, SB 10 was passed in the Senate. And although the legislation was approved in a relatively short period of time, it wasn't without casualties. Since we're focused on Black people's involvement in the marriage fight here, you should know that the members of the Black Caucus in the Senate who supported the bill took a lot of flack from ministers who were opposed to marriage, and they're still taking flack from those groups, along with other folks. I heard that. So then, after the bill passed in the Senate, it had to go to the House. And that's when things got really interesting, right? So Representative Greg Harris became chief sponsor of the bill. Let's hear it for Greg. Black clergy for and against the bill demonstrated their views in person via phone, emails, letters, and social media. The Chicago Urban League was a very early supporter, along with other left-wing institutions. And there were many discussions with legislators and their constituents to get the 60 votes necessary to pass the bill. Affinity, along with Mike O'Connor, went to Springfield in March to talk to members of the Black Caucus about the bill, and were told about the robocalls that Reverend Meeks was kind of spearheading to put the pressure on the Black legislators to not vote for the bill, and that they weren't seeing very many Black LGBTQ constituents coming to talk to them about the bill, which gave them the ability to say that this wasn't an area of interest for Black LGBT people. So after that trip, and even on the way back, Mike and I were on the phone strategizing, calling people all the way back to Chicago. And one of the things that happened is that Ben Montgomery helped to organize a bus of Black LGBTQ people. And that busload of folks was called the All Families Are Equal Coalition. And they went to Springfield to talk to members of the Black Caucus. And I would add that that was a group of about 30 or more people, and there were transgender and youth people on that bus too, so we had a wide range of folks. Affinity, the Chicago Urban League, Land Illegal also talked about the importance of marriage for same-sex couples, especially Black ones, and other issues several times on WBON. Woo! That's... I could write a book about that. In WBEZ, many of our organizations wrote letters in support of SB 10 and encouraged our members and constituents to contact their representatives to voice their support for the bill. The Chicago Urban League also hosted a community forum to update folks on what was happening with the bill about a week before the end of the spring legislative session. And some of our white brothers and sisters came to the South Side to the Chicago Urban League. That was a moment. We have pictures. So as we know, despite our efforts and those of many, many others, on May 31st, the last day of the session, Representative Greg Harris spoke from the House floor saying that he would not call the bill because the votes were not there. He vowed to call the bill during the fall veto session. One of the things that happened was the following week, Affinity issued a public statement calling for more inclusivity in the next phase of the work. There was a lot of anger, sometimes some racial undertones to some of the discussion about the Black Caucus not stepping up in particular, and a tremendous amount of frustration because space had not been made for small organizations and community members and allies to engage in the fight. But for as disappointing as that was, it gave the community a chance to regroup and the lead organizations and individuals in the campaign a chance to rethink its strategies. Affinity, the Chicago Black Gay Men's Caucus, the Lighthouse Church, United Black Pride, Adobe, and other Black LGBTQ leaders and allies were brought to the table early on to discuss how to do this better. A revamped Illinois Unites for Marriage Coalition staffed for a real campaign was created. The Chicago Urban League joined the steering committee and housed the Illinois Unite staff. I don't know if many people knew that, but that's what the staff was. So, they were Black LGBTQ leaders were consulted on messaging, hosting the screening of The New Black, a documentary about Black involvement in the marriage equality fight in Maryland. Asked to find couples of color to feature in social media. Ooh, that was a job. And as well as traditional media. Black clergy stepped up to join the fight in even greater numbers. Progressive allied organizations stepped up. There were media buys on Black radio. I don't know if some of you heard those ads on WBON. And organizations sponsored phone banks and letter writing campaigns and kept their members and constituents informed and engaged. And it must be said that a real game changer was the March on Springfield. The brainchild of So when Tracy invited me to coffee to talk over a new idea, I knew it was going to be big. And oh boy was it. There were over 5,000 people who showed up on that cold, rainy day on October 22nd. Affinity's bus was one of more than 50 that came from across the state.
Yes.
Studs for Life, that we were there. Organized just members, and they were definitely on our bus, loud and proud. They even got to tour the vault in the treasurer's office.
Yeah.
It was empty, don't worry. And a couple of things converged to ensure that there were Black LGBTQ people and allies in Springfield on November 5th. Marquell Smith and the Inclusive Community Project had planned the Communities of Color Lobby Day. And Illinois Unites had been working with Black LGBTQ leadership to organize meetings with legislators on that day. But instead of going to all those meetings and lobbying, or educating legislators, as we like to say, as 501c3s, we made our way to the House Gallery. And we were there when SB 10 was introduced, debated, and passed. This is definitely a win for our communities, but it hasn't come without cost. Earlier this year, the Illinois Coalition for Immigrant and Refugee Rights made a public statement in support of marriage equality. Yeah. And its members were defunded by the Catholic Campaign for Human Development. Fortunately, Crossroads is housing the Solidarity Fund, which was set up to take donations to help ICER members cover their funding gap. The majority of members of the Illinois Black Legislative Caucus voted for this bill, despite what people said. And we need to support those who have supported our community. They stepped up against significant odds. The churches that were against this bill have revved up their opposition. Some of the Black legislators who supported this bill are going to have well-funded challengers who are against LGBTQ rights in the next election. So we encourage you to call your state representative and senator to thank them for supporting your right to marry, whether marriage is on your mind right now or not. So that's a quick and dirty history that will be written in greater detail at some point. And now I'm going to turn it over to Craig, who's going to tell you what's beyond marriage equality.
So, my name is Craig Johnson. I'm the interim chair of the Chicago Black Women's Caucus. I wanted to point out to you that there are some sheets that are around the room, different spaces, and definitely right at the end of the hallway as you're heading out. This particular group of folks, representatives Kim, Marquell, Benjamin, Michael, Keron, and many of you know the names, and I'm forgetting somebody. Solomon, and I'm looking at people, and I'm like, Waddie. I shouldn't have even started that list, but representatives from right down along here. Here's the thing. So, all of these folks, we've known each other in many cases for a long time. We love each other. We respect the work that we do together, but independently in the community. Marriage is what brought many of us together to work as a, informal coalition, if you will. And it was interesting because when we went down to Springfield, one of the things that we heard was, wow, this is what it takes to get you guys to work together, right? And so we heard that message. And I think it's important to stress that, we recognize the value in numbers, the power of community, the strength and the power in working together. And so we want to continue to work together to look at marriage almost as a catalyst for what other kinds of public policy issues that are unique and important to the Black LGBT community, right? So right now, we're kind of making some preliminary plans. We're looking at December 21st, which is a Saturday, from 10 to 1, 3 hours, at the Chicago Urban League, where we can get together and to begin conversations on really umbrella topics, right? What you'll find on this sheet, for example, the 3 umbrella topics: criminal justice and safety, right? We know that these are issues that are important to the LGBT community. They're issues that are important to the African American community. And so we in this room live at that very unique intersection. And so it provides us an opportunity to address those. You'll see some examples here, the same thing with health, the same thing with economics. What we'd like for you to do is look at the sheet. If you've got questions you want asked or additional topics or suggestions that you want to share with us as we plan, please share them on this sheet. There's a smaller piece of paper that you can use as a save the date. So thank you very much for your attention. Michael.